You're watching Inside Automotive with Jim Fitzpatrick.
Hey everyone, Jim Fitzpatrick. Thanks so much for joining us on Inside Automotive exclusively right here at cbtnews.com. Today we're taking a look at how the Tamaroff Group is tackling everything from managing inventory and sales to keeping up with the rise of EVs and the comeback of leasing. For over 50 years, they've been serving the suburban Detroit area, representing brands like Honda, Acura, Nissan, and Kia. Joining us now is the president of the Tamaroff Group, Mr. Eric Frehsée, who's a third-generation dealer carrying his grandfather's legacy. So thank you so much, Eric, for joining us on the show today.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me, Jim.
Third generation is a lot of pressure on you, right?
A lot of pressure, yeah. Usually the second generation screws it up and it doesn't make it to the third, but we're fortunate to have second generation pass the torch, so we're very lucky.
Sure. The franchises I mentioned, there's not a dealer out there that wouldn't like to have every one of those. Those are good franchises. So tell us a little bit about the group for those dealers that are watching today that might not be as familiar with your group as we are.
Sure. So the business was started in 1969 as a Buick dealer, and we served the Buick community until 2007 in Metro Detroit. We added to the group in 1983 under the Jeffrey Automotive Group, which was my grandfather Marvin's son. And from there, we've held a variety of franchises from Rolls-Royce to Subaru to Bitter, Electric, Yugo, VW, Mazda, etc. And throughout it all, we ended up after the 08-09 buy sells with Chrysler, GM, and the domestics with all import dealers in Metro Detroit. Right about the time I got in the business, as a matter of fact, within a year of starting work, we lost the Dodge store, sold the Buick store, and gave one Buick store back. So really had to reinvent ourselves as being an import-only dealer in Metro Detroit, and the challenge was on, and thankfully we rose to the occasion. And here we are now, number one Honda dealer in Metro Detroit, several years running, one of the top Nissan stores, and growing our brand with Kia and Acura as well.
That's fantastic. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to mention, we also have a leasing company. So we specialize in commercial leasing, business to business, and then we've got a high-end division that focuses on open-ended, very creative and custom leasing for boutique and collectible cars that traditional banks have a hard time putting numbers on.
Wow.
And we have a rental business as well.
Wow.
So yeah, we've, as a group, we've been looking to grow, and the last couple of years have been kind of crazy. So what we decided to do was focus on the core businesses that we had under our umbrella, which didn't take and require a lot of capital expenditures and facilities and buy sells to grow. Yeah. And we've been able to grow our leasing company 10x and our rental business as well.
That's outrageous. Fantastic. So as you know, leasing kind of took a hit just after COVID hit, and it came down to really record lows over the course of the last few years. But it's back strong?
It's coming back, yeah. I mean, the manufacturers, dependent upon which they were, all at some point or another de-escalated leasing. During COVID, when inventory was tough, they had to subvent rates. They got away from that. They were charging standard pricing. Leasing wasn't something they had an appetite for. But now that the storm has calmed and we're resuming some type of normalcy in the market, we are starting to see leasing incentives pick back up, specifically in our market. And from a market with the domestic penetration being over 80%, in order to be competitive with the big three, we needed to have leasing in our corner for our import brands.
Yeah, for sure. So the dealers that I talk to around the country, I'm sure you're the same, tell me if I'm correct, have said, hey, listen, gross profits are not what they were a year ago or 2 years ago because of the inventory that we're now seeing on the lots and the economy being in a little bit different shape. Is it safe to say you're in that same boat?
Yeah, I mean, the fortunate thing, again, for our company is that during COVID, we didn't really take the approach that a lot of dealers in our area and around the country did with regards to charging over MSRP and to, selling a little bit differently than they were pre-COVID. Yeah. Being a family-owned business in the same community, serving over 55 years, We
Wow.
really prided ourselves on drawing a line in the sand and keeping our same business practices. And we're seeing that pay off dividends now that COVID has passed and lease cycles have ended and customers are getting back into the market.
Sure.
We're maintaining less than 30-day supplies with most of our manufacturers right now.
Oh, wow. That's a nice number for sure. Let me ask you, what does it look like on the EV side? What is your take on that as a dealer, principal, and what do you think? Where do you think the consumers are on this?
So I've got a lot to say with EV. I've been very fortunate that our rental business, where we supply competitive product for benchmarking and testing to other OEMs, has allowed us to really touch and feel and drive and work with almost every EV manufacturer out there. So we maintain a fleet of all late current model year vehicles, predominantly higher end. And I've driven and owned just about every EV that's out there. And I can tell you that the product's great. We're seeing a balance take place in the market when it comes to the values. We're seeing, dramatic depreciation in the first year. I think the early adopters are kind of done and over with. And now as we're starting to appeal to more of the mass market with EV, some of the real concerns are rising and they're still there and present. So our brands, Honda, Nissan, Kia, Acura, haven't been as involved in EV as some of the others, and they've kind of dipped their toe in the water. So the cars that we've had with regards to EV have been successful, but not at the level that we'd like to see, and not at a level that's sustainable for not only a dealer, but the manufacturer and also the customer.
Yeah. You mentioned that you've got a Nissan store. They've gotten some bad press recently. There's been a number of dealers that have been concerned about their gross profits and the vehicles that are coming out, maybe the lack of incentives on those vehicles. Talk to us about that. Where do you stand on the Nissan brand?
So when it comes to the Nissan brand, our family's represented Nissan for over 40 years. Everyone from my uncle, my father, my grandfather, my cousin, and myself now being dealers. So we've seen the, kind of the little yo-yo that Nissan sometimes has, but really I'm very confident in the brand right now. We've got a great product launch coming with the new kicks. It's appealing to a great segment. They're coming out the gate with a lease support program. We're very excited for that. I think what happened with Nissan is we've had some of the product that's become a little bit stale with regards to what else is out there in the marketplace. But I can tell you from what I know that's coming up the pipe, we've got some great new product coming. And I really think Nissan's going to be on the upcome in the coming year.
Yeah, that's great. That's great to hear, because I know there's a number of Nissan dealers that are concerned, but sounds like you're bullish on Nissan, which is good. You've had it for 40 years.
I'm bullish on Nissan. Not only that, I'm also on the regional dealer advisory board. I was on the national dealer advisory board, so I've got some different insights that maybe the average dealer hasn't been able to see. And from what I know and my relationships with the brand, I really do see them getting things moving in the right direction again in the coming year.
That's
and
good.
It's all going to start with the launch of the kicks. So I think you'll see some of the press start to turn around pretty quickly.
Well, that's fantastic. I'm sure our Nissan viewers are going to be very happy to hear that bit of news. So thank you for sharing that.
I hope so.
Yeah. So
there's
as we've seen here in the last few years, so many dealer groups have changed hands, and there's been so much acquisition by some of the publics and some of the bigger groups and such. Are you looking? They say now the third generation, typically sells the deal, right? Are you looking to either sell or acquire more stores in the future?
I mean, there's no question we're looking to grow and acquire. This is our passion. This is my cousin Jason and I are partners. So there's two of us. We're a great team. He handles the admin and finance and back of house. I handle front of house.
That's great.
We've got an awesome youthful team that we've built over the last decade. And, we're building a bench of team players that are going to be ready to grow when we are. We're connected with the brokers. We're looking at deals. We fine-tune what our ideal deal would look like. And, I'm very confident that the right opportunity is going to come. We're fortunate to have a lot of real estate in the area. We've got some empty buildings. So, we're positioned to grow, and we're definitely looking to acquire more stores.
Would you consider stores, and probably there's going to be dealers that are listening to the answer here, but would you consider buying stores that are outside of the Detroit metro? Or do you want to pretty much stay
So,
within?
yeah, when we look at what our core and ideal way to go is, it's really local scale. Our name, Tamaroff, has a lot of brand recognition in the community. We've been around for a long time, and we really want to be a part of every store that we have our name on. It's more of a legacy approach, and really, I want to be able to walk in and have the same relationship with all my employees as I do now between all 6 of our stores. So I really think that unless I can get a store in South Florida and move down there part-time, I'm probably going to look to stay in the Metro Detroit area, which is our home.
Why does every dealer want a store in South Florida? I can't tell you how many times I've heard that, but it's funny. I guess if you're a dealer in South Florida with a good franchise, you can ask anything you want, because it seems every dealer group wants a store in South Florida. I guess there's a multitude of reasons for that, right?
There are, and a lot of them is their bottom line, as I've seen in a lot of my 20 groups. So South Florida is an awesome market, and plus you get beautiful weather. So
that's right. That's right. And if you call that home, then there's also a tax benefit. There's no state income tax.
Exactly. Another plus. Yeah.
That's
so
right.
that might be the end game, but for the time being, we want to stay in Metro Detroit and in our community.
That's fantastic. How do you feel about the last quarter here of the year? You think we'll pull it out strong, or?
Yeah, I mean, we were a CDK dealer. We struggled with a lot of woes when they went out, and we came back super strong with the following 2 months. We had a record-breaking August last month. We're on track to have a great September. I think the third quarter is going to close out strong, and I think the fourth quarter, a lot of it's going to be dependent upon what happens in the election. I think we're starting to see some hesitancy arise, and a lot of the conversations about the political climate's definitely surfacing at the moment. But all in all, I feel like we're going to have a strong year. It's not going to be as strong as it was in 21, 22, and 23. But all things considered, looking pre-COVID and the 19 years and before, we're pretty happy with where we're at right now.
Sure. They say that Detroit, or Michigan rather, is kind of up for grabs right now. Do you have any predictions as to whether it's going to go blue or red?
I know what I hope, but as far as predictions go, I'm not one to gamble, so I don't know. But I hope we end up the right way.
Fair enough. A very political answer. Good answer. So I like that. That's awesome.
Thank you.
All right. So Eric Frehsée, president of Tamaroff Group, thank you so much for taking that time out of your schedule there to join us on CBT News. Very much appreciated. Best of luck to you as you close out the year here. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Jim, and thank you everyone for watching. Really appreciate it, and have a wonderful day.
Great, thanks.
Thanks for watching Inside Automotive with Jim Fitzpatrick.